Cool. Yeah, why are so less people here today? Anyway, I think we'll start here. Can't just keep waiting. Okay, you guys can see my screen, right? Okay, cool. This is screen number 1. This is screen number 2. Okay, so the things that I wanted to cover today are array methods, right? Basically, deep diving into arrays a bit more. Okay, and understanding some of the methods or some of the array functions which are very important for iterating through the array. Okay, so the first one that I want to talk about is called something known as for each. Okay, so what does that mean? Let's just focus for some time now. I'll write on my WebStorm, my code editor, so that I'm able to push that code also. Otherwise, that becomes a problem. So I'm going to call them array iterative methods. Okay, and each of them has their own significance. The first one that I want to talk about is called the for each method. Right? Methods or functions. So the functions of an object are called methods. Okay, so if you look at this, if you remember, guys, हमने क्या सीखा था? Let's say we are creating an object. Let's say the name of the object is A. So of course it can have behaviors. I mean, it can have properties and behaviors. जो behavior होंगे, of course, they will be functions, and function we can just write like this. Okay, so we can have let's say drive, and this can be a function. Okay, functional expression method. Does everyone remember this? Okay, so when I say a.drive, I get room, which is it's running. Okay, so the point that I'm trying to make is धीरज भाई revision है, slow ही पढ़ाता हूँ मैं. The point that I'm trying to make is whenever an object has a function, it's called method. That's the only thing which I wanted to tell you from this. Okay, so when we say array methods, right, and not array functions, if you look at it, I've written array iterative methods, right? So these are functions which you can apply on the array object, right? Because we know then that array is also an object, because when we do type of on this guy, it returns an object, right? So it's an object. There are some functions on it, and functions on objects are called methods. Guys, clear hai jo bola bhi? Everyone? जल्दी बताओ यार, कुछ भी नहीं बोला है. All I have said is functions which are keys of an object like this guy are called methods. और क्या बोला है मैंने? Folks, I need more yeses or I need more no's. चुप बैठने से नहीं होगा. Give me an answer. Clear, not clear, कुछ तो बोलो. Okay, ठीक है. Okay, that's it. That's all I said. Methods are functions of an object. That's it. Okay. So when we talk about an array, let's say we had an array. I'll write it here, baby. Functions of an object or keys of an object. An object which are functions are called methods. Okay. Okay. So when we had an array, let's say we had an array. Okay, let's say this was our array. Okay. When I say ARR dot, right, length is a property because it's not like a function which I'm calling it, right? Guys, इसको relate करो object के साथ. हमने object में क्या सीखा है? When we want to access some property, we say dot that property, right? When we want to execute a behavior, we say that function needs to be called, right? So here I can say array dot push, right? It's a function or a method which takes a parameter, which is basically items or item. So when I say 7, now array becomes 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Is it clear? Are you able to connect the concepts, guys? This is a property, and what is this, Chinmay? What is this called, Chinmay? Why are you saying method? Method. Good. It's called method, right? So methods of an object are functions of an object are called methods. That's all I'm saying. Okay. So now what I'm saying here is array iterative methods. Okay. So nothing complex about this term. The functions of the array, which is also an object, which will help us to iterate the array, are called array iterative methods. With me, everyone, or not? Clear है ना भाई? ठीक है, चलो. Now let's make life even easier. ठीक है? Okay. The first one, like I said, is called the for each method. Okay. How does it work? So let's say if we have an array which looks like this, we have to. So एक simple use case ले रहे हैं, ठीक है? Probably someone can help me with this. Okay. You need to go over each of the element of this array. ठीक है? मतलब हिंदी में बोलता हूँ यार. I want to know how many odd numbers are in this array. I'll just add one more, 7. ठीक है? अमित सर बताओ कैसे करेंगे? Okay, Shivam, आप बता दो. Shivam, do you want to come on unmute? Very good, Shivam. Love the enthusiasm. आ जाओ मेरे भाई unmute पे.
हेलो.
हाय शिवम.
हाय सर.
बताओ
सर. इसके लिए हम सर फॉलो का यूज कर सकते हैं.
नाइस. Okay, so let me Shivam एक second, let me just repeat the question, फिर आप carry on करना. Guys, the question is very simple. Shivam हमें help करने वाला है. The question is, इस array में how many number of odd numbers are there, right? I just want the sum of them. Shivam आगे बोलो.
Okay sir. Sir, follow let I equal to 0. Sir, equal to and less than array dot len.
बढ़िया.
I plus plus. Then sir, if condition लगा सकते हैं, if a or I equal to modulus triple equal to 1, then we can create a variable.
अभी के लिए लॉक कर देते हैं, ठीक है?
Okay.
इस वाले को लॉक कर देते हैं. So guys, what this function will do is basically this will log all. Shivam, unmute ही रहना आप, ठीक है?
Okay.
This will basically log all the odd numbers. Is everyone clear with this? Is everyone clear with this? अरे बोलो ना भाई सब लोग. जल्दी बोलो guys, बहुत cool चीजें सिखाने वाला हूँ. जल्दी बोलो. Okay. Cool. Okay. Now, the problem with this code. Hey Ankit, you are also here. Good to see you, man. The problem with this code is. Anyone? अरे इतना लिखना पड़ता है बाबा. You have to write all of this, right? The problem is this code is very error prone. Okay? How? मान लो किसी ने I की जगह ये लिख दिया, किसी ने यहाँ पे equal to लगाया है, नहीं लगाया, right? So don't you guys remember how many problems we were facing when we were trying to iterate the array, right? Do we remember, guys? बोलो ना भाई. Yes. So now, the reason that array iterative methods came in is because this is error prone. अरे अमित भाई, ternary operator is for conditions. Condition पे तो अभी आए नहीं. This part only is so error prone. I plus plus भी करना है. अगर ये भूल गए तो it's an infinite loop, right? अगर ये लगा दिया 0 की जगह, अगर ये लगा दिया 0 की जगह, तो it does not work because it will skip the 0th element. अगर यहाँ पे equal to डाल दिया, then also it will access outside the array. So lots of problems, basically. That's what I'm saying, and that's why array gives us iterative methods. Okay, वो for loop वगैरह सीखने के लिए था. Now let's talk about more practical examples. So we'll say ARR dot पहला method क्या था guys? What is the first array method that we going to study today? बोलो ना भाई, सामने लिखा है. For each. Okay. So Shivam, you can mute yourself now. Okay, for each. So ARR dot for each, it's already telling me. Okay, what does it take? What does it take, guys? Any guesses? इसका argument क्या होगा? Sort का argument क्या था? सरफराज, प्रतीक, कोई तो बोलो. अरे कंडीशन थोड़ी ना होता है argument यार. नहीं, नहीं, बिल्कुल भी नहीं, सब गलत बोल रहे हो यार. फंक्शन, विशाल ने सिर्फ सही बोला है. सॉर्ट का आर्ग्यूमेंट वाज अ फंक्शन, राइट? तो यहाँ पे भी फंक्शन ही तो लिखेंगे. Okay, now how this function will work is, if you remember, a minus b नहीं है तरुण. इसमें if you remember in sort we were adding a comparison, we were adding a function which had two arguments, number 1, number 2, या फिर a b. Okay, in case of for each it will take a function which just has again two arguments. One is element, the second is index. Okay, अभी समझा रहा हूँ, don't worry. This element is basically every element of the array from the very start to the very end. No, this is not for comparison, Vishal. This is not a sort method. This is a for each method. This is for iteration. Iteration क्या होता है? Array के start से लेके उसको end तक पढ़ने के लिए. Now what I'm going to do is same logic. If now remember, I don't need ARR of I here. ELEM पहले देख लेते हैं. console.log करा के ये देता क्या है? I'll say ELEM. ठीक है? Now I'm just going to hit enter and just see what happens. क्या हुआ guys? Did you see what happened? This basically started from the first element of the array and पूरा last element तक चला गया, right? Right? Now हमें क्या करना था? हमें यहाँ पे condition डालनी थी. If lm percentage 2 equal to 1. That's it. Hit enter and tada. Simple. Make sense, everyone? क्या किया? But now I would like to make it slightly more concise. Arrow function सीखे हैं यार, use करो. ठीक है? I'll just remove this function keyword. I'll put an arrow यहाँ पे. And now it becomes more smaller, okay? Enter. Same thing. So the bottom line is for each क्या लेता है? For each takes a function. That function has two arguments. हमने एक ही use किया, ध्यान से देखना, right? Now we can probably use the second one also. हम ऐसा बोल सकते हैं lm comma is at index. Okay. Now when I hit enter, 1 is at index 0, 3 is at index 2, 5 is at index 4, and 7 is at index 6. Clear है guys सबको? Okay, let me copy paste this here. Cool है ना तरुण भाई? Guys, मजा आ रहा है? Are you guys having fun? कोई तो बोलो यार. इतना अच्छा कॉन्सेप्ट सीख रहे हो फिर भी नहीं बोल रहे. ठीक है. How many odd? Okay, प्रतीक आप ही बताओ कैसे काउंट करना है. स्पेलिंग तो ठीक लिखो फिर सिरजुल भाई, एंजॉय की. No, iteration means starting from the very start going till the very end. कहाँ कोई काउंट नहीं है यहाँ पे प्लस प्लस करने को. प्रतीक भाई साहब पूरा बोलो, बोलना है तो क्या करना है, कैसे करना है. Pratik sir, I'm waiting for you. Where do I write that? How do I count these numbers is Pratik's question. I'm asking him to answer it. Okay, let count is equal to 0. Milan, outside the function or inside the function? Okay, perfect, Amit. Then what do I do, Amit? Amit, then what do I do? लूप के अंदर इंक्रीमेंट किया तो इट विल नॉट काउंट द नंबर ऑफ ऑड्स. अरे यार राहुल क्या बोल रहे हो डू वाइल यार. फॉर ईच सिखाया उससे दूर जाने के लिए. एंड नाउ यू आर सेइंग डू वाइल. So what is the problem, Priyanka, with it having a let scope inside the if, correct? So I am, since it was a single statement, I was not putting the braces. Now I will put the braces. I will move this inside. Okay, and here I will say count. This guy, long name. Make sense? Now we know when this whole loop will get executed, we will know the number of odds. Press enter. Check in count number of odds. The number of odds are 4. कोई फर्क थोड़ी ना पड़ता है मित. console.log कोई रिजल्ट थोड़ी ना चेंज कर रहा है. This thing is only going to run once. अब बाद में लिखो पहले लिखो, how does it matter? Okay, repeat once. The question was this. First one was print the number of odd numbers in the array. Second was print the count the number of odd numbers in the array. Okay, how did we do that? We took a variable outside this iteration, right? Because this, what is this? This is just a way of writing a loop, है ना? So I took a variable which is called count number of odds. Okay, I have assigned this to 0. I know that this is going to iterate over the full array, right? Whenever I divide that element by 2 and I'm getting the result as 1, I'm saying count number of odds plus plus. Okay, so what will happen is whenever this is true, which is for an odd number, this thing is going to increment, right? And at the end of this loop, once I'm outside the loop, I can just print this, and this will have the number of odd numbers. Clear? Everyone clear or not? यार भूल के तो बताओ. Clear है? Okay. Someone said, how do you count this? How do you sum up all the odd numbers? ये भी बता दो. How do we do that, guys? Can someone tell me? राहुल आप ही बता दो. Yes, sum plus ELE. So what we'll do is we'll create another variable, sum of odd nums, and I'll assign it to 0. Inside this guy, I'll just say sum of odds I'll take this, I'll say this plus is equal to ELEM, right? I run this, sum of odds is 16. Guys, clear है या नहीं है? Please बताओ. ओके सर, काउंट के बारे में थोड़ा समझा दो। राहुल, मैं आपको समझा दूंगा, बट आपको अनम्यूट करना पड़ेगा खुद को। राहुल आओ भाई, क्वेश्चन पूछो अपना। पूछो राहुल।
हाय सर। हाय
है राहुल।
एक्चुअली सर, ये काउंट का थोड़ा सा मतलब लॉजिक समझ में नहीं आ रहा, काउंट एक्चुअली क्या काम कर रहा है यहाँ पे।
ओके आप क्वेश्चन समझ गए? व्हाट इज द क्वेश्चन, पहले ये बताओ।
हाँ, क्वेश्चन ये था कि जो भी हम मतलब एरेज में जितना भी ऑड नंबर है उसका हमको सम निकालना है।
उसका आपको सम निकालना इज वन थिंग, उसका आपको काउंट निकालना इज अनदर थिंग।
ओके।
काउंट का क्या मतलब है कि कितने ऑड नंबर्स हैं, करेक्ट?
यस यस।
आपको ARR डॉट फॉर ईच का मतलब समझ में आ गया?
यस सर।
इसका ये मतलब है दैट इट विल गो ओवर एवरी एलिमेंट ऑफ द array, correct?
यस।
What I have done here is I'm checking if that element, because what will happen is this function that we have written will run for every element of this array. ठीक है?
यस।
What I'm simply doing is I'm checking, hey, if that particular element, right, is it odd? Got it? अगर वो odd है तो मैं count number of odds को प्लस प्लस कर रहा हूँ, जो कि पहले 0 था। पहली बार odd मिला, it will become 1. Second time odd मिला, it will become 2, and that's how it will keep increasing.
यस।
तो डाउट कहाँ है भाई?
बस सर वो काउंट का मतलब काउंट का क्या फंक्शन है वो थोड़ा समझ में नहीं आ रहा था।
बताओ कहाँ
Now
पे
I think
फंक्शन काउंट का?
like let count number of odds is equal to 0 हमने लिया था ना।
वेरिएबल है यार वो तो।
ओके ओके।
ये राहुल भाई, कोड तो पढ़ो।
यस सर यस सर।
चलो गाइज, एवरीवन इज क्लियर? कुछ भी नहीं किया गाइज, लेट मी जस्ट रिपीट इट, ओके? ओवरवेल्म मत होना इससे, बहुत सिंपल कॉन्सेप्ट है। देयर वाज एन array, ठीक है? शायद लेट्स से 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7, okay? What the only thing that I have taught you today, only thing, is that every array has a method on it. Method का मतलब आप सबको पता है, which is called for each. Okay, what this guy does is it takes a function, right? Function. What are the arguments of this function? दो arguments होते हैं. The first is the element of the array and the second is the index of that element. ठीक है? So just to prove it to you, I'm just going to console.log both of these things. ठीक है? So guys, हुआ क्या? What JavaScript, see how JavaScript works. This function that you have written, right? What JavaScript will do is for every element of the array, right? Or we can say it for every iteration, JavaScript will just run this function. Got it? So it will first run for 1, for 2, for 3, for all the way till 7. Is this complicated? Is this hard? No. No, right? Just to give you a terminology, this function which JavaScript calls every time on the array element is called a callback function. नाम याद रख लो. Okay, I'll write it here. Callback function. Right? Callback क्यों बोलते हैं? Because JavaScript is going to call it back. इसका ये मतलब है, when what JavaScript will do is it will read through every element of the array and call this back, right? So this is called a callback function. Right? In very simple definition, right? In very simple definition, JavaScript works like this. It says, I will call back later. ठीक है? हम बोलते हैं ना फोन पे, I'll call you back later. So a callback function is a function which is passed as an argument to another function. Right? समझो इसको. I just read the formal definition for you guys. इसको समझो. ERR dot for each क्या था guys? It was a method, right? ERR dot for each was a method. ERR dot for each was a method. Do we understand this or not? Yes. Method function ही होता है. Function के अंदर हमने क्या पास किया guys? Inside a function we passed another function, right? And that is what a callback is. A callback function is a function which is passed as an argument to another function, right? ये चीज चलती कैसे guys? हमने कल भी देखा था, right? When we were writing all of these, when we were writing many things, कि हमने एक function लिया था mirror maze करके, right? उस mirror maze function में क्या था guys? If you remember it, in mirror maze function we were passing of another function, right? This was our mirror maze function, और इसमें हमने एक mirror me function पास कर दिया था, right? Right? Mirror me या फिर mirror कह लो, whatever, you passed the mirror function inside this, right? And inside this function you are calling this mirror me function, right? What I'm trying to tell you is very simple. The function which is passed as an argument to a function and जिसको बाद में call करते हैं, so what are we doing? We are calling it back later, is a callback function. Clear है ये? Guys, ये बात clear है सबको? बोलो yes or no. Okay, ठीक है. Now to answer Vishal's question, Vishal, JavaScript है, it's never important. It's never, nothing is necessary यहाँ पे. Index को हटा दो, no one is going to bother. Doesn't matter. Cool. For each समझ में आ गया? Guys बोलो ना यार. अच्छे से समझ में आ गया? On a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is highest, कितना अच्छे से समझ आया? 10? अरे वाह. 1 to 10? 8? क्यों शुभम भाई, क्यों 8 क्यों? क्या नहीं समझ में आया? Guys who are saying less than 10, बताओ क्या नहीं समझ में आया? अरे नीड प्रैक्टिस अलग चीज है, समझ में क्या नहीं आया वो बताओ. नीड प्रैक्टिस तो पूरा जेएस का चाहिए. राहुल तो 10 में से भी 100 स्कोर दे रहा है भाई. ओके. मोहित, सम ऑफ ऑड नंबर. अरे यार शानू भाई, पूरा फंक्शन ही पूछ लिया ना. फंक्शन क्या होता है? फंक्शन के अंदर जो आर्ग्यूमेंट होता है उसको अगर मैं शानू लिख दूं तो सिस्टम को शानू का मतलब थोड़ी ना जानने की जरूरत है. If I write this, does the system need to know there is something called as Shanu? बोलो Shanu Karan. Does not need to know this thing ना यार. तो LM का क्यों पूछ रहे हो? Same thing here also, right? Function LM is just an argument. Is it sum of odd numbers? मोहित, इसका क्या मतलब है? क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हो कि क्या बोल रहे हो? हिंट्स मत फेंका करो ना यार, पूरा लिखो. Mr. Mohit Goswami, what is your question? we can write them as EL, we can write them as Amit, we can write them as my name or A or B or whatever you want. यार अमित बार बार ये मत पूछो यार, वेरिएबल के नेम्स पे जब कंफ्यूज होते हो यार, इट्स नॉट राइट यार एट दिस स्टेज। इतना बताया हुआ है बार बार। विद्यासागर भाई कल का लेक्चर देख लो, समझ में आ जाएगा। ओके, सम ऑफ ऑड नंबर समझ में नहीं आया। मोहित भाई अनम्यूट पे आओगे? How can you think that, bhai, Amit, when it's a function, when it's being passed in a function? पूछो मोहित सर।
हेलो सर, मेरे को ये समझ में नहीं आया कि ये सम ऑफ ऑड नंबर कैसे हुआ।
इधर देखो आप पहले मेरी बात, आपको ये समझ में आता है ये क्या करता है?
हाँ सर।
क्या करता है ये?
सर ये फॉर ईच मेथड है।
क्या करता है?
इसमें से ये दो पास किया हुआ है वेरिएबल।
क्या करता है सर, ये तो बता दो।
मतलब सर,
अरे मतलब करता क्या है? एरे के ऊपर इटरेट करता है, ये बोलो ना। एरे के हर
हाँ
एक
हाँ, एरे के ऊपर इटरेट स्टार्टिंग से एंड तक।
स्टार्टिंग से एंड तक।
यस
तो
सर।
एरे के सारे एलिमेंट्स इसको मिल रहे हैं यहाँ पे, करेक्ट?
यस सर।
तो मैंने यही तो चेक किया यहाँ पे, वेदर दैट एलिमेंट इज ऑड और नॉट। ये समझ में आता है कंडीशन?
हाँ, वो तो समझ में आ गया सर।
फिर डाउट क्या है मेरे भाई?
सर ये मेरे को समझिए, सम ऑफ ऑड नंबर, ये प्लस और इज इक्वल टू ये वाला जो सेंटेंस है ना, ये समझ में नहीं आया।
सम ऑफ ऑड नंबर्स पता है आपको, मैंने एक वेरिएबल डिक्लेयर किया जिसका वैल्यू 0 है,
जीरो है।
ठीक है? तो मैंने यहाँ पे तो लिखा है सम ऑफ ऑड नंबर्स इज इक्वल टू सम ऑफ ऑड नंबर्स प्लस ELEM। ऐसे तो ये समझ में आता है?
हाँ हाँ हाँ।
अरे तो पहली क्लासेस के वीडियोस क्यों नहीं देखते तुम यार? सिखाया तो था पहले दैट दीस टू थिंग्स आर इक्विवेलेंट। नोट्स में भी लिखा होगा, देखो मेरे भी। ये देखो क्या लिखा है यहाँ पे।
ओके सर।
ऐसे नहीं चलेगा मोहित भाई।
ठीक है सर, प्रैक्टिस करते रहे।
हाँ, अरे वीडियोस तो देखो यार पुराने।
ओके सर।
ओके,
सर ये आप नोट्स कहाँ पे अपलोड करते हो? गिट्स पे करते हो ना?
सब कुछ गिटहब पे पुश्ड है, जाके उठा लो वहां से।
तो सर उसका लिंक भेजो ना, लिंक चैट में।
यार अब बोल रहे हो, मैं रोज जब बोलता हूँ तब कभी नहीं बोला। कमाल है भाई। Guys, yeah, don't do this ना। Everyone, why do you like keep surprising me all the time?
सर हो गया।
Okay. What else? Parameters name and arguments name can be different for a same function. That has no, इस चिन्ह में इसको इस स्टेटमेंट का कोई मतलब ही नहीं है जो आपने लिखा है। What else? What else? Sir, inside for each, can we put any number of arguments? You can put 100 number of arguments in here. Just that JavaScript will not know unka meaning kya hai. JavaScript is only going to fill these two arguments. See, like I said, what is happening here is for each function or for each method is taking a function or a callback function, which is this part. ठीक है? एक बार समझना guys इसको. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. ठीक है? और मैं इसको यहाँ पे लिख रहा हूँ अलग से. Function find odd. Okay. ध्यान से समझना guys, please. ये देखो मैंने क्या किया यहाँ पे. What I have done is I have created a find odd function. ठीक है? what this guy has is it has lm and index. Okay, now instead of passing the whole function as a callback here, what I'm doing is I'm passing the function as a reference. ठीक है, find out उसका वो है, name of the function है. So when I pass it here, right, so basically what it tells us guys is ये जो for each है, it is only expecting one function. Okay, so either you write that function as an anonymous function जो मैंने पहले लिखा था, where it did not have a name, or you give it a name like I've done here, right? The result is going to be same. Okay, so now even when I press enter, same thing is going to happen. ये समझ आया सबको? If you would have understood my last lecture, आपको ये समझ में आएगा. Guys, this is JS at its best. सीखना है अभी सीख लो. Okay, these are not the things that you will find in book, or not the things which a lot of people will be able to make you understand यार कि ऐसे ऐसे हो रहा है. ठीक है? The way it works is this is a function which we have written. Okay, when we take this function and add it to a variable, मैंने क्या बताया था आपको? It becomes a functional expression, right? Now what I have done is I have passed this function का name to this function, to this other method or this function, whatever you want to call it. So it gets passed as a functional expression. That's what is happening here. नहीं तरुण, वो मेथड नहीं है, एक फंक्शन है. मेथड क्या होता है तरुण बताओ यार. तरुण ये गलत बात है ना. नहीं, आप पहले बताओ मेथड क्या होता है. मेथड होते क्या है? एग्जाम्पल मत दो. what is the difference between methods and functions? अभी समझाया था मैंने 10-15 मिनट पहले. जावा तो है ही नहीं आदम भाई यहाँ पे. Yes, only Ajay has given the right answer. अरे अंजलि बहन इधर देखो ना, ARR दिया हुआ है, डॉट फॉर ईच लगाया है, तो जावास्क्रिप्ट को मालूम है ना कौन से array के ऊपर फॉर ईच लगाना है. Yes. An object can have properties and it can have behaviors. The behaviors are called functions. We are saying inside functional method, we are calling another function, which is called a functional expression. No, please go back, watch the previous videos and understand what is functional expression. I've explained it too many times. Please explain an anonymous function. यार सचिन जब पहले क्लास में बताता हूँ तो सुनते क्यों नहीं हो? Functions which do not have a name are called functional expressions. Sachin, are you here? इधर सुनो सचिन, अनम्यूट पे आओ पहले.
हेलो सर.
सचिन क्या डाउट है?
सर एक्चुअली मैं बस थोड़ा सा इसका डेफिनेशन में कंफ्यूज हो रहा था सर.
डेफिनेशन में क्यों कंफ्यूज हो रहे हो? इधर देखो, आपके पास एक फंक्शन है, ठीक है? Let's say it's called say hi. What it does is it just says console.log. समझ में आ गया ये? सचिन भाई Sachin, unmute yourself and remain on unmute.
Yes sir.
ये समझ में आ गया? What is this called? What is this thing?
सर एक्चुअली मैं प्रिंट कर रहा हूँ अपन इस फंक्शन को.
ये फंक्शन है या नहीं ये बताओ. Is this
हाँ
a
सर, ये फंक्शन है सर. से हाई.
अब इधर देखो. I'm going to write the same thing यहाँ पे. I'll say const. Basically I'm creating a variable. ठीक है. Const say hi is equal to function. यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है सचिन? यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है सचिन?
सर वैल्यू को कांस्टेंट कर दिया यहाँ पे फंक्शन की.
वैल्यू को कांस्टेंट नहीं किया है. एक वेरिएबल में एक फंक्शन को स्टोर किया है.
राइट.
राइट. कांस्टेंट नहीं. सर आप क्या बोल रहे हो? आप क्लासेस अटेंड कर रहे हो कि नहीं?
सॉरी सर.
ऐसे मत करो ना यार. मतलब इतनी अच्छी चीजें हम पढ़ रहे हैं यहाँ पे. आप व्हाई आर यू डूइंग लाइक दिस? रिपीट तो करो जाके लेक्चर यार. एनीवे सुनो अब. The point is we say const say hi, which is a variable, which is a way of declaring variables. There are other ways to do it. What are the other ways? We could have said let here, we could have said var here, or whatever, right? The point of the matter is this guy does not have a name, right? This function does not have a name. Okay. What is happening is it's getting stored inside a variable, let's say, which is called say hi. Right now, this thing, when you assign an anonymous function to a variable, is called a functional expression 1. Guys, दोबारा मत पूछना ये. Second, this function which does not have a name, it does not have a name, but it will behave such that it can be called with the name say hi. Right? Which was not the name of the function, but the name of the variable which was storing this functional expression. Okay. No, it is not both. It can just be one. Say hi is a variable name which is storing this functional expression. Functional expressions work in this manner that you can use it like this. So this is an anonymous function, and this whole thing is a functional expression. Not, अरे यार मयंक, उलझते ही जा रहे हो मयंक भाई. When you are storing an anonymous function, the reference of an anonymous function in a variable, it's called a functional expression. इधर सुन लो दोबारा. When you have this guy, let's say I create a new variable and I just call it let x is equal to say hello. Please understand what is happening here. The function name was always say hello. What I did here again is I created a functional expression. Now, if I call x like this, of course, say hello gets called, but not because x was the name of the function. X was just a variable which was holding the reference to that function. In other words, this thing is a functional expression. So you can do this. Mayank, उस दिन भी got it बोला था आपने. So you can do this, or you can just write an anonymous function यहाँ पे, which can be function, no name, do whatever inside here. Same thing. Now, of course, there was nothing written here, so nothing happened. Array.forEach is just an example of this. It takes a functional expression or an anonymous function, or going one step ahead, इसको callback भी बोल सकते हैं. Guys, अब कोई doubt है? When we call reference of a function, reference of a function means, how do I explain it? There is a function, right? Let's say this is a function. I'm not writing any body. This is a function, right? Now, how do you access it? Either you call it like this, right? Or you store its name, right? Which is a reference to that in a separate variable. So let's say I say let x is equal to a, right? So now x is holding a reference, we say like that, to this function. So when we call x like this, there was no copy which was created. Matlab x wahi wala function hai guys, right? Just to prove it to you, or not, complex ho jayega. Yes or no? Are we clear? Are we absolutely clear? कोई डाउट है किसी को भी? इससे बेटर तरीका नहीं है गाइस बताने का इसको, believe me. If you're not clear right now, please revisit the lectures. There is no question of advantage or disadvantage here, right? It's just a matter of understanding what we are doing. Okay. Shall I move forward? How many of you guys have read till the 3rd chapter or the 4th chapter of Eloquent.js? कितने लोगों ने पढ़ लिया है guys? यार फिर ये डाउट्स कैसे आ रहे हैं? दोबारा पढ़ो. Read it again. Read it again, guys. 4th chapter is on functions, right? I'm sorry, 3rd chapter is on functions, right? And then we have higher order functions. Now you can read up till the 6th chapter, right? See, guys, अपने को यहीं तक पढ़ना है. Okay, your DOM and everything is also there, but that's just good for you if you do that. For learning JavaScript decently, you just have to do it till 11th chapter. उसमें भी बीच में एक project है, right? So I'm not able to understand where is the gap. Why are you guys not studying? Guys, do you want to learn this language or not? तो थोड़ा work करना पड़ेगा, guys. See, it's very easy for me to say that course ho gaya yaar, course ho gaya, we are done with JavaScript, but I don't want to do that, right? I want each and every one of you to understand this with just as much depth as there is to it. But if you guys keep asking the same question har bar to aisa nahi chalta na yaar. Can everyone please read till the 5th chapter now? Guys, I'm asking you a question. Say yes or say no. It's not that big of a book. We've covered most of the concepts. Can I expect you guys to read till chapter 5 during this week? इस week के end तक. Friday तक का time है. 3 days बहुत होते हैं. Everyone? See guys, this is going to make all the difference कि आप JS में कितना depth build कर पाओगे. Everything is on that. Cool. ठीक है. Shall I move forward now? Cool. So today we have covered array iterative methods का पहला method, right? The first one was for each, right? The second one is called map. चलो map बाद में बताता हूँ पहले. The second one is called filter. Because I think Rahul ने question पूछा था class के start पे. So what is filter? Okay, let's understand filter. Again, very simple. Let's say you had an array. This one. Okay, it was Chinmay, sorry. let's say you had an array, right? Now what I want you to do is, I want you to extract out of this only odd numbers. Question ध्यान से समझना. Right now we have an array जिसमें सारे numbers हैं, even भी हैं, odd भी है. What I want to do is get an array जिसमें सिर्फ odd numbers हैं. Question समझ में आया guys? हाँ या ना बोलो सर जल्दी सब लोग. Okay, the question is clear. Okay, how it works is very simple, of course. So again, how can we solve this using a loop? Can anyone help me? What I want to do is, शिवम दोबारा बताएगा. चलो शिवम ने पहले भी बताया था. आ जाओ शिवम भाई. Oh, we have two Shivams.
हेलो.
बोलो शिवम.
ओके सर. सर हम फॉर लूप का यूज कर सकते हैं इसके लिए.
बताओ. तो मैं पहले आपको क्वेश्चन बता देता हूँ सबके लिए. Guys, what we want is we want to extract all of the odd numbers. Extract का मतलब होता है हमें एक नया array बनाना है और उसके अंदर डालना है. शिवम go.
ओके सर. सर कैन आई यूज फॉर ईच इटरेटिव मेथड?
Yes, perfect. I love it.
Yeah. Okay sir. AR dot for each.
Okay.
And sir element ELE.
Okay.
Sorry, callback function. Sorry.
ऐसे भी कर सकते हैं. ठीक है.
Yeah. So then make a condition.
Condition बोलो.
If element modulus. Okay. Then sir push in a new array.
New array कहाँ पे रखूँ सर?
Sir, basically, okay, sir, in the if condition.
If condition के अंदर नया array लिखूँ?
नहीं सर, हम इसमें दो चीजें कर सकते हैं. या तो सर हम एक इनिशियली में जो AR है उसके आगे एक वेरिएबल क्रिएट कर ले, एम्प्टी array, like let new array. And then सर ये ARR से पहले आ जाएगा न्यू array.
वो तो कर दिया ना, क्लियर डिक्लेयर.
ना सर असाइन करनी है.
कहाँ पे असाइन करें?
ये जो सर ARR है इससे पहले न्यू ARR इक्वल टू AR डॉट फॉर ईच, इस पूरा स्टेटमेंट. ओके सर. नाउ ओके ठीक है सर. हम ये जो इफ कंडीशन है इसके यहाँ पे पुश मेथड का यूज करके एलिमेंट को इसमें पुश कर.
बोलो क्या लिखो यहाँ पे?
ओके सर. न्यू एरे डॉट पुश एलिमेंट.
ठीक है. एक बात समझ लो सब लोग. In here what I have done is, this might be confusing for some people. Either I could have done like this. ठीक है. This is also correct. या फिर आप फंक्शन भी लिख सकते थे यहाँ पे, right? Anonymous function. But when there is just one argument, you can just avoid these brackets. So it becomes easier. It becomes in one line. छोटा हो गया code, right? Because I don't want to use the index. So there is no point of doing this. You can simply write this shorthand. Clear है सबको what I have done? Right? Cool. Why would we want to use index in for each? Up to you, right? Let's say I give you a question. Print all the elements which are at the odd index, not odd elements which are at the odd index. तो आपको index चाहिएगा ना मित? ठीक है? Clear है ये वाला? Okay. Now one question which Shivam had also ran into. समझो. The problem with what Shivam was saying is, okay, my question is very simple. If guys, हमने सीखा है that there are methods or functions which sometimes return something, there are others which don't return something, है ना? So for each का क्या nature है? If I press enter, यहाँ पे क्या लिखा है guys? गाइस व्हाट इज रिटन हियर? अनडिफाइंड। इसका मतलब फॉर ईच क्या रिटर्न करता है? कुछ रिटर्न नहीं करता। अरे जो कुछ रिटर्न नहीं करता वो अनडिफाइंड रिटर्न करता है ना, सो इट रिटर्न्स नथिंग। ओके, सो शिवम, आपका सवाल का जवाब, आपने बोला था ऐसे लिख दो, ये गलत है, बिकॉज न्यू ARR को क्या मिलेगा? अनडिफाइंड मिल जाएगा। ARR डॉट फॉर ईच जब पूरा चलेगा वो तो कुछ रिटर्न ही नहीं करता। क्लियर गाइस? समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं? बोलो ना भाई। ठीक है, ओके। नाउ filter, the filter method is just an improvement on top of for each। ठीक है, क्या करता है समझ लेते हैं। जो मैंने इतना लंबा लिखा उसकी जगह मैं एक सिंपल लाइन लिख सकता था। आई कुड हैव रिटन ARR.filter ELE या फिर एलिमेंट, जो भी लिखना चाहते हो आप, और मैं यहाँ पे सिर्फ ये लिख सकता था ELE। पहले सिंपल वाला बताता हूँ फिर टफ वाला बताऊंगा, ठीक है। आई कुड हैव रिटन इफ ELE %2 equal to 1, रिटर्न ट्रू। गाइस आप देख रहे हो यहाँ पे क्या हुआ है? I didn't have to do console.log, मुझे कुछ नहीं करना पड़ा, because ARR.filter method is unlike that, it returns something। समझ में आ रहा है? What does it return? अब समझना ध्यान से, थोड़ा सा ट्रिकी है, ठीक है। So just like for each, just like any other array method, ये क्या करता है? It will run through the whole array, ठीक है। It will run through the full array, but जब वो हर एक एलिमेंट पे रन कर रहा था, जिस भी एलिमेंट के लिए आप ट्रू रिटर्न करेंगे, ठीक है, for whichever element you return true, that element will become a part of the new array it returns। जिस पे नहीं करोगे वो नहीं होगा। किसको समझ आया? शिवम को आ गया? बहुत बढ़िया। दोबारा बोलता हूं ARR.filter is very similar to ARR.forEach। okay, the only difference is two differences। one, this guy returns an array, देखो array return कर रहा है, but which array, right? So guys, because it's an iterative array method, it means ये array के हर एक element के ऊपर चल के जाएगा, right? Now since it's traveling over each element of the array, for whichever element you return true, जिस भी एलिमेंट के लिए हम रिटर्न ट्रू करेंगे, that will become part of the result। जिसके लिए नहीं करेंगे that will not। अब समझो यहाँ पे क्या हुआ? ARR.filter went over each of the element of the array, ठीक है। मैंने यहाँ पे क्या लिखा है? अगर ELE %2 is equal to 1, राइट, यानी कि अगर एलिमेंट ऑड है तो ट्रू रिटर्न कर दो। सो वो कब होगा? व्हेन इट रन्स ओवर 1, तो ये वाला इफ चल जाएगा, इट विल रिटर्न ट्रू। व्हेन इट रन्स ओवर 2, तो दिस इफ विल नॉट वर्क, एंड व्हाट विल इट रिटर्न? गाइस? नथिंग का क्या मतलब होता है जावास्क्रिप्ट में अमित? अनडिफाइंड, ठीक है। अनडिफाइंड को जावास्क्रिप्ट फॉल्स की तरह लेगी, राइट। मैंने क्या बोला आपसे? फॉर विच एवर एलिमेंट यू रिटर्न ट्रू, दैट एलिमेंट बिकम्स पार्ट ऑफ द रिजल्ट, ठीक है। तो अगर इवन नंबर्स निकालने थे तो क्या करें भारती? कहां पे जीरो करूं? एंड नाउ व्हाट इज द रिजल्ट? कॉम्प्लेक्स है गाइस? Is this hard? I think it's extremely simple। जिस दैट आपको पता नहीं था या फिर किसी ने बताया नहीं था आपको। समझ में आ गया फिल्टर? ओके, समझो दोबारा। सो नाउ आई विल गिव यू अनदर एग्जांपल. ठीक है, इस बार एग्जांपल क्या है, ध्यान से सुनना. ठीक है, भारती आप ही आंसर करना इस बार, सिंस इट यू हैड आंसर्ड. आई वांट यू टू फिल्टर all the elements of the array which are at odd index. Bharti, how do I do that? अरे बोलो तो सही भारती, या फिर कोई और बोला यार, भारती नहीं बोल रही. Perfect. Index percentage 2 is equal to 1. But index तो यहाँ पे है ही नहीं भारती. What do I do? Yearly, comma index. ठीक है. Now index percentage 2 is equal to 1. Right? Odd indexes पे even numbers थे. Even indexes पे odd numbers थे. Clear है सबको? Extremely powerful tool guys, extremely powerful tool. अभी शायद आप लोग, अरे रिटर्न फॉल्स करे तो नहीं पार्ट बनेगा सर रिजल्ट का, क्या क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हो यार. ओके, लेट मी जस्ट कॉम्प्लिकेट दिस फॉर यू गाइस. अपन ने कार वाला एग्जांपल लिया था ना यार कल. दोबारा लिखना पड़ेगा, लिखते हैं. हाँ शिवम बोलो. Of course you can do only index, but for specifying the second parameter आपको पहला पैरामीटर स्पेसिफाई करना ही पड़ता है. That's a JavaScript syntax thing है ना. ये गलत सिंटैक्स है. अगर इस कॉमा को हटा दोगे so index will become the first variable and कॉमा के बाद कुछ नहीं है. अरे वाह भाई सिद्दिक, सिद्दिक यार very well done, thank you for this. ठीक है, नाउ द क्वेश्चन इज, सुनो एवरीवन, देखते हैं कौन आंसर कर सकता है. सिद्दिक आप ही आंसर करो यार. द क्वेश्चन इज आई वांट ऑल कार्स जिनकी एचपी अबव 2 है. नहीं भाई, सिद्दिक का हक पहला है, सिंस ही गेव मी दिस. सिद्दिक आता है? अरे बोला तो गिव. सो दिस इज एन array of cars. Return me all the cars which have HP greater than 2. बोलो सिद्दिक. Siddharth does not like talking. Okay. Cars.filter. Okay. Let's call it car, जो वेरिएबल है. car dot, अच्छा पूरा लिख देता हूँ चलो. You guys will ask a lot of questions. If car dot HP greater than equal to 2, do what? Return true. 2 and 0. Oh, I said less than, sorry. 6 cars. क्लियर गाइस, समझ में आया सबको? ओके, नाउ इसको शॉर्ट में लिखने का तरीका भी सीख लेते हैं. राइट, आई कैन जस्ट से, बिकॉज इट्स अ वन लाइन फंक्शन, मैंने आपको सिखाया था एरो फंक्शंस में, बिकॉज वन लाइन फंक्शन, एरो फंक्शंस में इफ इट्स अ वन लाइन रिटर्न, आपको रिटर्न एक्सप्लिसिटली लिखने का जरूरत नहीं है. यू कैन जस्ट से कार डॉट एचपी greater than equal to 2. It will have the same result. ये प्रतीक भाई, फिल्टर का काम होता है जो एरे के एग्जिस्टिंग एलिमेंट्स हैं उनको निकालना फिल्टर करके. रुपीज टू डॉलर करना फिल्टर का काम थोड़ी ना है. Guys, is this making sense to you? The short one which I just wrote, is that clear? Okay. ठीक है, बढ़िया. Now one last one for today. Okay. This one, okay, first I'll copy this example. And another example. Now, the third one is called map. Okay. Map को समझते हैं. Okay. Of course, what is map? Map is also an array iterator or iterative method. ठीक है. What is the job of map? ठीक है. Map का job होता है to run over each, ध्यान से सुनना एक बारी में guys, to run over each element of the array and transform it into something else. ठीक है. सुनो. Let's say आपके पास cars थी. Okay. Simple example first. Let's say आपके पास एक array था ये वाला, right? What I want to do is I want to multiply every element by 3. ठीक है? So right now the array is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I want the array to be 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. Is everyone clear with the question? Everyone clear with the question? Okay. Okay. So how do we do this? Yes, that's the question. How can we do this? Samjho. Of course, loop is the way to go about it. But I map sikhaya to, let's use it. In map, what we will have is again element comma index. Index हमें चाहिए नहीं, so I will remove it later. Function. And I'm going to say, now this works like this, guys. It will run over each of the element. Whatever you return will become the value of that element. ठीक है? So अभी देखो ये क्या कर रहा है? If I'm not returning anything, basically it's filling up an array of undefined, right? Because when you're returning nothing, it means you're returning undefined. इसकी जगह में we'll say return 3 star ELEM and see the result. Everyone understood this? Okay. Okay. Now इसको थोड़ा easy कर देते हैं और मतलब short में कैसे लिखेंगे इसको? I'll just say ELE star 3. Done. Does the same thing. समझ में आया? It's not automatically doing anything, Baba. It's going over the array. The way it works is जो आप return करोगे, that will become your new array. So it returns an array. Filter, map, array return करते हैं. For each array return नहीं करता. Clear है या नहीं? Okay. Now, a slightly complicated example. Okay. हमारे पास एक array of cars था, ठीक है? What I want you guys to do is, I want to create an array of HP. मतलब समझो? अरे प्रतीक भाई बता रहा हूं ना यार, वही तो कर रहा हूं, रुको तो सही. बीच में मत बोला करो यार जब समझा रहा हूं तो. You have an array of cars which has all these cars, okay? So what I want to do is, I want to extract HPs out of it, ठीक है? So basically, what I want to say, see, I want to transform this array to something like this: 5, 3, 2, 8, and all the way down. Did everyone understand what I just said? Perfect. Amit ने तो यार मजाक ही कर दिया. Perfect, Amit. One liner. Cars dot map car dot HP. Finished. परफेक्ट अमित। और अमित अगर नेम कार नेम्स का एरे बनाना था तो क्या करना है? डॉट नेम, सिंपल है ना? सॉरी नेम गलत करा दिया मेरा भी। क्लियर एवरीवन? एवरीवन सब बोलो। प्रतीक भाई क्लियर है या नहीं? Okay. Any questions, guys? Anyone has? Today we have studied for each, filter, map. All are very important, extremely important array methods. Do we have any questions? Push the code, please. Very valid ask. Array iterative methods. Pushed. No, these functions are much slower than a while loop or a for loop. Can you repeat for each one more time? Vishal, for each is probably the easiest of all of them. Okay? What you do is you have an array. Okay. Now the question is to just move over the array without doing anything else. Right? Just move over the array without doing anything else. Okay? What do you do? मतलब अगर मुझे हर एक element of the array पे जाना है, I can just say arr.for each, right? It takes a function, elem, मतलब of course the first argument, and then it's not doing anything. मतलब आपको फिर जो भी it will just keep on giving you element of the array. पहले 1 देगा, फिर 2 देगा, फिर 3 देगा. Whatever you want to do with it, you do. So I'll just simply log it in this case, or I'll simply log elm or elm star 3 maybe. And that's it. That's what for each तो सबसे simple है यार. Okay, so for us, we stick to while for DSA, and for interview, we know everything. Not really. See, it's like this. It's like this, guys. You don't need that fast of a speed, okay? So while you need to know all your algorithms, and for your algorithms, you'll be using for loops and while loops and everything. But when you're writing production level code, right? When you're writing code in an industrial setting, right? You will not use a for loop, right? Because the reason is over there, readability of code, less bugs in code is more important than the code running extremely fast, right? So the difference is not very big in terms of speed. I mean, it's very big actually, but itna bada nahi hai that it will slow down your functions, right? So I hope that answers your question, Amit. Can we sort them in the same function? Nahi. For sort, you need to use the sort method, which we talked about yesterday. There is a reduce method about which we will be talking day after. Tomorrow class nahi hai. A treat a function method. It's just the function which you give inside the inside these iterator methods. I might have mentioned that jaldi mein. There's no such terminology, if that's what you're trying to ask. What else, guys? Any other question? Tomorrow we will not be having a class. You will probably have an assignment or something. If there are any questions, please ask me anything at all. I'll just switch on the AC meanwhile. Bye bye, Pooja. Good night to you. Good night, guys. Thanks. Good night. Good night. Sir, when I write code in JS, how do I know my code is best or perfect? Or say, may I request you to kindly go through it and let me know what all I require improvements? I will likely not have the time at this stage, Amit. But see, typically in industrial setting, how it works is there's a concept of code reviews. So when I write code, one of my colleagues will review it, right? So when you're in that setting, people are going to review your code, right? इंटरव्यू में क्वेश्चंस आएंगे JS और DSA से. It seems like you invested a lot of money in your company. Lot is a very subjective term. So yeah, we did invest money, at least some of it. It was wow, learning new and awesome methods. Bye. Good night. Good night, Bharti. Thank you. Now, what is the closure?